Next question. Compute the fractional change in volume of a glass slab when subjected to a hydraulic pressure of 10 atmosphere. Option A 2.74 into 10 power minus 5. Option B 3.74 into 10 power minus 5. Option C 1.74 into 10 power minus 5. Option D none of these. Solution. Pressure P is equal to 10 atmosphere is given in the question, that is equal to 10 into 1.013 into 10 power 5 Pascal, because 1 atmospheric pressure is equal to 1.013 into 10 power 5 Pascal, that is equal to 1.01 into 10 power 6 Pascal is the pressure. Bulk modulus of glass K is equal to, it is a standard value, 37 into 10 power 9 Newton per meter square. Therefore, fractional change in volume delta V by V is equal to question mark, means that we should going to determine, or delta V by V is going to be estimated. We know that bulk modulus K is equal to P divided by delta V by V. Therefore, from here delta V by V can be written as P by K, that is equal to, both values we have, P value is here and K value we have. So by substituting P value as 1.013 into 10 power 6 divided by K value for glass is 37 into 10 power 9, by simplifying this value we will get 2.74 into 10 power minus 5. So that option A is the right option. Next question. The Young's modulus of steel is twice that of brass. Two wires of the same length and of the same area of cross section, one of steel and another of brass, are suspended from the same roof. If we want to lower ends of the wires to be at the same level, then the weights added to the steel and brass wires must be in the ratio of option A 1:1, option B 1:2, option C 4:1, option D 2:1. Solution. We know that Young's modulus Y is equal to F into L divided by A into delta L, but in the place of F, here you can take it as W, that is weight, W into L divided by A into delta L, where small l total length, A area of cross section, and elongation delta L are the same for both the wires as per the question. Therefore, Y is directly proportional to W, or Y, that is Young's modulus of steel divided by Young's modulus of brass, is equal to Ws divided by Wb, that is equal to, as per the question, it is 2 divided by 1. So, option D is the right option. Next question. The approximate depth of an ocean is 2700 meters. The compressibility of water is 45.4 into 10 power minus 11 Pascal inverse, and density of water is 10 cube kg per meter cube. What fractional compression of water will be obtained at the bottom of the ocean? Option A 1.2 into 10 power minus 2, option B 1.4 into 10 power minus 2, option C 0.8 into 10 power minus 2, option D 1 into 10 power minus 2. Solution. Bulk modulus B is equal to 1 divided by compressibility, or 1 by compressibility is equal to P divided by delta V by V, where P is equal to H rho G, hydrostatic pressure. But from here, delta V by V is equal to, by cross multiplication, H rho G into compressibility. That implies delta V by V is equal to, H is given in the question 2700 meters, or that can be substituted as 2.7 into 10 cube into density of water 10 cube kg per meter cube into G value 10 meter per second square into compressibility is given in the question, that is 45.4 into 10 power minus 11, that is equal to 1.23 into 10 power minus 2, that is option A is the right option. Next question. Copper of fixed value V is drawn into wire of length L when this wire is subjected to a constant force capital F. The extension produced in the wire is delta L. Which of the following graphs is a straight line? Option A, delta L versus 1 by L. Option B, delta L versus L. Option C, delta L versus L square. Option D, delta L versus 1 by L square. Solution. We know that Young's modulus y is equal to F into L divided by A into delta L. Let us assume it is equation 1 according to Hooke's law. But volume of a wire is equal to area of cross section into length of a wire. So that is given constant. This we can assume as equation 2. From equations 1 and 2, we get y is equal to F into L square by V into delta L. Observe here, y is equal to Fl by A into delta L is there. This is the definition of Young's modulus. If this right side quantity F into L by A into delta L can be multiplied with L divided by L, F into L divided by A into delta L into L by L. Here observe, F into L numerator F into L square, denominator A into delta L into L. A into L is volume, so V into delta L. Implies from here delta L is equal to FL square divided by V into Y. That is, delta L is directly proportional to L square. It means option C is the right option. Option C is the right option. Next question. A man grows into a giant such that his linear dimensions increases by a factor of 9, assuming that this density remains same. The stress in the leg will change by a factor of option A 1 by 9, option B 81, option C 9, option D 1 by 89. Solution. Stress is equal to force by area, that is equal to mg by A. Mass can be written as volume into density into G as it is divided by area. That implies stress is equal to volume is directly proportional to L cube, so that stress can be written as L cube into rho into G by L square. Denominator L square, numerator L square cancel, 1 L is remaining. That is, stress is equal to L rho G. Rho constant, G constant. Therefore, stress is directly proportional to L, or stress will become 9 times the initial value. That is option C is the right option. Next question. An external pressure P is applied on a cube at 0 degree Celsius so that it is equally compressed from all sides. K is the bulk modulus of the material of the cube and alpha is its coefficient of linear expansion. Suppose we want to bring the cube to its original size by heating. The temperature should be raised by option A, P divided by alpha K, option B, 3 alpha by Pk, option C, P divided by 3 alpha K, option D, 3 Pk alpha. Solution. Due to thermal expansion, the volume strain is. So in thermal properties of material chapters, you may learn the volume coefficient of a solid substance. When a solid substance is heated, volume coefficient gamma is equal to delta V by V into delta T, where gamma is equal to 3 alpha, or volume strain can be written as delta V by V is equal to 3 alpha delta T. Due to external pressure, delta V by V can also be written as P by K. This is bulk modulus definition. From both the equations, we will get, equating both, we get 3 alpha delta T is equal to P by K, or delta T is equal to P divided by 3 alpha K. That is, option C is the right option. Next question. Two wires are made of the same material and have the same volume. However, wire 1 has cross-sectional area A and wire 2 has cross-sectional area 3A. If the length of wire 1 increases by delta x on applying force capital F, how much force is needed to stretch wire 2 by the same amount? Option A, 4F, option B, 6F, option C, 9F, option D, F. Solution. As both have same values, both wire and first wire and second wire. See, observe the wire 1, length L, area of cross section A. For second wire, length is not mentioned actually, but area of cross section is given 3A, but volumes are given same. To have the same volume, if area of cross section increases by 3 times, then first wire, so definitely length of a wire should be increased by 1/3. If area increases by 3 times, length should be increased by 1/3. So that anyway, here volume of the first wire, volume of the second wire are equal as per the question. As shown in the figure, the wires will have the same Young's modulus, same material. That is also mentioned in the question. And the length of the wire of area of cross section 3A will be L by 3, same volume as wire 1. For wire 1, y is equal to F by A divided by delta X by L for the first wire. For the second wire, y is equal to F dash by 3A divided by delta X by L by 3, equation 2. From equations 1 and 2, both LHS are equal, so we can equate the RHS in equation 1 and 2. That implies F by A into L by delta X is equal to F dash by 3A into L by 3 delta X. That implies F dash is equal to 9 times of the initial force, or 9F. That is option C is the right option. Next question. A graph is drawn between stress and strain of a wire. Predict the correct statement. Observe the graph here. Strain is taking along x direction and stress is given along y direction. Two regions are given in the graph. First region up to point Q and between Q and T. So second region is also given in the graph. Options. Option A. Region 1 is called as plastic region. Option B. Region 2 is called as elastic region. Option C. Along the path O to Q, the body regain its shape after removing the load. Option D. The Hooke's law is obeyed from P to Q. Observe the graph, region 1 and region 2. Next solution. Region 1 is called as elastic region, whereas region 2 is called as plastic region. The wire regains its shape only in the elastic region. The Hooke's law is obeyed between O to Q, that is in the first region. Therefore, option C is the right option. In the graph, the stress strain curve P is called proportionality limit and Q is called elastic point or elastic limit, R yield point, and T is a breaking point here in the graph. So that here from Q to T is a plastic region and O to Q elastic region. So that option C is the right option. Next question. The graph shows the behavior of a wire in the region for which the substance obeys Hooke's law. P and Q represents. Observe the graph. Option A, P extension, Q applied force. Option B, P applied force, Q extension. Option C, P stored elastic energy, Q extension. Option D, P extension, Q stored elastic energy. In the options, option A, option B are given force and extension. Option C and option D are mentioned extension and elastic energy. So we'll move to the solution. We should find out for this graph parabola which quantities for P and Q this graph is suitable. That is the question. Solution. Graph between applied force and extension will be straight line because in elastic range F is directly proportional to X. We know that from Young's modulus formula, Y is equal to FL divided by A into delta L. From that equation, we can get delta L or X here. F is directly proportional to X if other quantities are same. This F is directly proportional to X from option A and option B. So straight line, both option A and option B. Option B and option A are correct for straight line passing through origin, but given graph is not a straight line passing through origin, so there is no chance to have the option A and B. Next, the the graph between extension and stored elastic energy will be parabolic in nature. This line is related to option C and option D. As we know that elastic stored energy or potential energy U is equal to half into kx square or half of k constant. So U is directly proportional to x square. So that our answer is D. That is option D is the right option. That is this graph parabola, we can get the parabola when extension is taking along x direction and stored elastic energy is taking along y direction only. So that option D is the right option. Next question. The strain versus stress curves of three wires of different materials are shown in the figure. P, Q and R are the elastic limits of the wires. The figure shows that. Observe the graph which is given in the question. Stress is given along x direction. Strain is given along y direction. Three wires P, Q, R. Option A, elasticity of wire Q is maximum. Option B, elasticity of wire P is maximum. Option C, tensile strength of R is maximum. Option D, none of these. Solution. As stress is shown on x-axis and strain on y-axis, y is equal to stress divided by strain, that is equal to 1 divided by tan theta, where tan theta is the slope of straight line passing through origin. So as per the given graph, tan theta is equal to y coordinate divided by x coordinate, that is strain divided by stress. Tan theta is equal to strain divided by stress, but here y is equal to stress by strain as per the definition. Therefore, y can be written as 1 divided by tan theta, or that is equal to 1 divided by slope. So, the elasticity of wire P is minimum and of wire R is maximum based on theta value in the graph. So that our option is D. Option D, it is none of these is the right answer. Next question. The diagram shows a force extension graph for a rubber band. Consider the following statements. Observe the graph here. Force is given along x direction. Extension is given along y direction. And this shape of this curve is called hysteresis curve. Hysteresis curve. Area of the area between or area of the graph gives the loss of energy in case of hysteresis curve. From origin, so observe the red color spot. This is stretching, and reverse direction it is unstretching. The statements. First statement, it will be easier to compress this rubber band, expand it. Second statement, rubber does not return to its original length after it is stretched. Statement 3, the rubber band will get heated if it is stretched and released. Which of these can be deduced from the graph? Out of the three statements given in the question, which statement is correct one? That is the question. I can move to the solution. Before solutions, see the options. Option A, 2 and 3. Option B, 3 only. Option C, 1 only. Option D, 1 and 3. Now I can move to the solution. Area of hysteresis loop gives the energy loss in the process of stretching and unstretching of rubber band, and this loss will appear in the form of heating. When the extension becomes 0, the force becomes 0. That is, the rubber band reaches to initial state after removing the force. Therefore, option B, that is third statement only, the right statement. See, once you observe the question, see the question once again. What is there in the third statement? The rubber band will get heated if it is stretched and released. So third statement, that is option B, is the right option. Observe the solution once again. Next question. The diagram shows stress versus strain curve for the materials A and B. From the curves, observe. Here B is one curve and the bottom one is the curve A. Material A curve, material B curve. Strain is given along x direction, stress is given along y direction. Options. Option A. A is ductile and B is brittle. Option B. A is brittle and B is ductile. Option C. Both A and B are brittle. Option D. Both A and B are ductile. Solution. In ductile material, the plastic region EC is large, and hence the materials can be easily changed into different shapes. Whereas for brittle materials, the plastic region between EC is small and they will break soon after the elastic limit is crossed. Graph B represents brittle material and graph A represents ductile material. This is the theory behind stress strain curve. So in case of stress strain curve, this is a distance between E and C. Distance between E and C decides whether the material is plastic or brittle. So as for the theory given in solution, so if EC is large, that is distance between E and C is large, the material comes under the plastic family, plastic material. Or if distance between E and C is small, it is brittle material. So that as for the theory behind the stress strain curve, our answer is option A. That is A is ductile and B is brittle.